This is Chicken Ball. Come at us, bro.
Hello and welcome back to the Chicken Ball Pod, all things Tottenham Hotspur. Since we last spoke, let's see, Spurs lost to Everton in the FA Cup match, which did matter to our season. Spurs lost to Manchester City on the weekend, which we all agree didn't really matter. So, there's certainly not a lack of consistency. I'm joined this week by both Mort and Scott. Scott, going to start with you. I don't really know how many new stories we can tell out of this, right? Individual errors, not taking chances. Do you blame one more than the other? Or do they just go hand in hand?
It's everything, man. But if I have to pick one, it's the individual errors just compounding, I think. And then a lack of finishing, which I think there's an argument there that those are just individual errors, just missing our sitters. And there was a time where, and the three of us have talked about it extensively, we were more than capable of winning many games we drew, and it was not the defense's fault. And I know Mort stands with me there, right? That our finish is an issue, and I call that an individual error. And so I think the answer is just compounding individual errors, just fucking us over.
Yeah, Mort, you were talking about it during the Everton game, on our WhatsApp group, how after going up 1, I don't know, 2, 3 additional chances, and then obviously we get hit back for 3 straight goals.
Yeah, and that's a story, right? The story is individual errors. I think that debate's over, right? Like, there isn't a debate left on why we're losing. It's not formation, it's not tactics, it's not Jose being old, it's not players not wanting to play. It's a talent gap. And we've been saying it on this pod now for a few weeks, and I've been whining about it on Twitter. But when you have guys like Rio Ferdinand, Jamie Carragher, Neville, these guys are coming up and saying the same thing. I don't give a fuck who, THFC1267 on Twitter is saying. Your opinion is irrelevant, right? You go to the pros, you go to the folks who've done this. When those people are saying this, that's the end of the debate. We have a talent gap. We have an issue with errors. We've been making those errors all season. This is not a new thing. It's not like suddenly we woke up and the team started committing errors. You can go back to the first Everton match that we lost. The first match of the season that we lost was on a set piece goal due to an error, right? So we've had errors all season. The thing, like Scotty said, is there was a point in time where we were scoring goals from two guys. And we all said, I think, Andrew, you said, this will fail. The dependency will eventually catch up to us, and it did. Those guys turned a little cold. They started missing chances. We don't have an organic third goal scorer. We would all love for it to be Stevie or Deli, Lamella, Lucas, Bale. Pick a fucking player. Gio, it's not working. So that's what happens is when your errors catch up to you, which they always do, we were not able to overcome them anymore because our two key players, Kane and Sonny, can only do so much. And they've already done enough. It's not reasonable to ask them to do more. They've already done more. Somebody else has to do more. Somebody needs to step up. And I think that's where we are, Andrew. This is a compilation of individual errors, which have been happening all season. We are no longer able to overcome them with individual talent. And then our recent injury history, or what I like to call a mini crisis, has just compounded this, like missing key players like Gio and Reggie. We were missing Kane for a couple of weeks. We were missing Lamella for a long period of time, who seems to have come into his own now. So that's where we are, right? And there's no longer a debate. There's no debate. That's what it is. Individual errors, lack of talent. That's the problem. End of.
Yeah, and I think too,
ahead, Scott.
This might derail the progression here, but I think when we look at what Mort said about, nothing's new, this is what's been happening all season, he's spot on. And I think, for all those people that are out there, this is what happens when you rely on Kane and Son. We always saw this coming under Mourinho. We can't play this low block, anti-football, blah, blah, blah. If you look at what we have at our disposal, like, yes, I've said our defense can be good enough to win a title, and I still think under the right circumstances, they're good enough to do it. But I don't think they're great, right? Our defense isn't great. Kane and Son are world class, and then our midfield is close to being there. So if I'm Mourinho, I look at what I have. I say, well, I have to defend like hell as a unit to the fuck all ends, and I have to use Kane and Son to just pip a goal here and there because they can do that. And that's what we did until December, and it just stopped working because, like Mort said, that can't work long-term sustainably for an entire season. And here we are. And that's where I said a couple of episodes ago, my challenge to Mourinho, from as a fan to Mourinho, which I truly think as a fan, it's okay to talk, in terms of my challenge to the manager would be to find a way to make it work without relying on Kane and Son. And we know that's easier said than done. So it's a rhetorical question, that I would ask the manager, because I don't think he really has another solution. And here we are.
Well, one thing I've seen a lot of, obviously, in the Twitter debates, which have obviously gotten considerably worse in the last week, is, around like, well, a manager is supposed to, make the players better. They seem to forget that, Manchester City spent 200 million purely on their defenders. So I guess Pep doesn't make players better. And when Liverpool was comically bad at defending, they went and bought a generational defender as well as the most expensive goalkeeper at the time in purchase history, right? So I guess that Jurgen Klopp doesn't make players better, if that's the argument. So Scott, like, I'm wondering, when I look at that back line, and again, looking at it what it is right now, I heard, Reguilon is fit, until he actually plays, we're not going to pull that card out onto the table. But if you're playing with players, say Davies and Doherty and Sanchez, Dier, Rodon, Toby, all those guys, like, do you really think Mourinho or any manager can get more out of those guys? Or, like, are you at the point where some of those guys just have to go or play considerably less to be impactful?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think up through December, the fact that we had such a low goals conceded number was incredible. And I think that's all credit to Mourinho and a huge, huge tick in the pro column for what he brings to the table, right? We were defending as a unit very, very well. And when you look at what's at our disposal, like you said, Dier, solid squad player, right? Can play a couple different roles. Definitely a vocal leader, somebody that you don't mind having around. But maybe not ready to compete for a Premier League title as a starting center back. Then you've got Sanchez, who's phenomenally gifted when it comes to physicality and just his athletic ability. The mental side to his game's not there. Then you've got Toby, where it's flipped, and the mental side to his game is there, right? He's a very smart defender, but his body just can't keep up with his mind, it seems like, these days. And so my point is, we don't have a whole lot at our disposal, and Mourinho got the best out of them. So to really answer your question, I would say that he's getting close to getting out of the squad what he can. I say my two challenges to him are really, one specific challenge would be to find a way to get the mental side to Sanchez's game running, because if you can figure that out, I actually think we have a good little defender on our hands. But bar that, I don't think you can squeeze much juice out of what we have. But it's a good question.
Mort, any thoughts there on that same question?
No, I mean, it's kind of covered it, right? It's so fucking situational now, Andrew, right? It's like, I was just looking at our fixture list, right? And we're obviously in a terrible run of form. Just, if you had to guess how the first 6 matches of this calendar year went, right? 6, give me your win-loss draw. Go. In the first 6, Andrew.
What do you mean?
Just take a guess what our results were in the first 6 matches of this calendar year.
Oh, well, I know we lost the first. And I would assume we maybe won 3, lost 1, drew the other 2.
Okay. What about you, Scotty? The first 6 matches, how do you think we did?
My gut instinct is actually to say 1 draw, 1 loss, and 4 wins.
5 wins and 1 draw across all competitions. So it's situational, right? I think, Scotty, you're on with that mentality thing. It's situational. We got to get these guys to focus on 1 match at a time.
Yeah.
Because after that stretch, right? So that last win came against Wickham. After that, we lost to Liverpool, lost to Brighton, lost to Chelsea, beat West Brom, lost to Everton, lost to City. So it went the complete flip, right? 5 losses and a win. So I think what we need to do is, I think he's maxed out the players, but he can still win. And I think that's my challenge to him is, fuck the noise, fuck what THFC 278 on Twitter saying, focus on getting the wins like we have been, right? This squad, like I said, these mistakes are not new. They did not start 2 weeks ago. They've been happening since the first match of the season. But he still found ways for us to win. Get us back to that. Do what needs to be done to get us back to getting wins, getting 3 points. We have, and I know it's going to come up, Andrew, so I won't harp on this too much, but you started off in the right way. Since the last pod, we lost a meaningful match to Everton, and we had an embarrassing loss to City. there's still more matches coming. There's a lot of season still left, and we're only 4 points out from fourth. We have a 6-point match coming this weekend. There's a lot left to play for, and my hope for Jose is take us back to that form that started this calendar year, 5 wins and a draw, and stop fucking around with this cute little thing that we've been doing over the last 6 games where we lost 5 and we won 1.
Yeah, well, I think sometimes people have, too short of a shelf life in their memory, because exactly like you said, like I didn't even remember we had 5 wins in the first 6 games, right? Like I knew we had a pretty decent, kind of first 10, 12 matches, and then obviously it's gone the complete opposite direction. So, you ask yourself, like, which of these things is most likely to happen? Like, we're going to continue losing every single game, or we're going to find, some form, maybe somewhere in the middle, right? Like, and again, like it's funny that we're only, I think, 4 points back of a top 4 spot. Like it really is there for the taking. Like, I know that's purely speculative, but there are a lot of games left. And like, I'm not even concerned about the schedule because, we beat Manchester City earlier in the season. We beat Manchester United, and then we lost to teams like Brighton, right? So I'm actually really not even concerned at this point who we've got left to play because, we don't have to play Liverpool or City again. I think we do have to play Leicester one more time, but there's plenty of winnable matches. And I think more something that actually people really aren't even talking about that much, and you talked about it last time, are the injuries, right? Like and I think it's that talent gap. And so I look at MLS squads and I think, yeah, those guys are pretty good, and those guys are terrible. Like, there's such a gap between the starter and sometimes the position players that replace them. Like, Doherty's been awful behind Serge. Davies is a huge step down from Reguilon. I mean, then again, you look at like the Everton match. Well, look what happens when Ndombele comes off and both Winks and Sissoko come on. Like, the talent level just goes completely through the floor. Yeah. So, when people compare Pochettino and they compare Mourinho, again, you're not comparing apples to apples. I mean, you could argue that Mourinho has a stronger squad, but Pochettino by far had a stronger starting 11, right? And so it's not really fair to compare either of them. But Scott, like, there are a lot of games left. I mean, if you had to make a gut call, which way do you think this is going to go?
Well, you guys, I've said this.
You asked the biggest homer. You asked the biggest homer Tottenham fan, which was, what the fucking answer is, Andrew.
Well, I was going to ask Ryan, but he didn't even bother not showing up today.
We're winning the quad. No, all right, I'll say this. You guys know this from the group chats. I'm just a Tottenham Cup guy. I support Tottenham in the Cups. Never been a big Premier League guy, so that's my new stance. I've never cared about the Premier League, baby. It's Cup.
Yeah, you're all in on the Audi Cup.
Yeah, and this is my Cup scarf. Everyone, this is truly my Cup scarf. So we're all in on the fucking Cups over here in Seattle. But honestly, all jokes aside, I think that there's a real shot for top 4. Like Mort, I think we have a manager who is very capable of getting some things figured out. I do really think we need to start seeing a consistent center back pairing if we're going to be able to right the ship. I think it's very important. And for somebody as smart as Jose, I know that it's not neglect or naivety. So I do wonder why we haven't been able to find that steady partnership to some degree. I'd like to see that happen, but I think we can shoot for top 4. And I think we're going to win the League Cup. I really do. I know it's City, but I truly believe we have a manager who understands how to just go win one game better than anybody else on the planet. I'm very confident in that. But one thing I will say, I think something in this, I thought about this when Mort was talking earlier. I think we maybe overlook this as fans, but the more the pressure builds to be successful and win trophies, the harder it is to take it a game at a time, right? Like, we all know what pressure does. You start looking to the future. Well, we dropped points today. We have to win the next 3 games, to recover, blah, 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 it compounds. And so I think we do have a manager right now for all the Jose in out bullshit. Like, we do have a manager right now who's best in class when it comes to finding somebody to like hit that reset button and recoach that mentality, because I do think it's a real thing. And so I think Jose has opportunities with the League Cup to do that. And to bring it all back to your question, I think we win the League Cup. I still think there's every reason to think we can go far in Europa and really make a run at this thing. But if we can get top 4 or Champions League, even without top 4 by winning Europa, but if we can get Champions League next year and a trophy this year, that's a fucking awesome season. And I'm ready to hang my hat on success there, see what happens this summer and march on. So I think I've said it recently, but as shitty as things can feel right now, they're actually really not that bad, and plenty of time for things to shake out in a positive way.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Like, I don't know if I'm quite as hopeful, but I do think the performances are going to improve. And I do think, getting some of those guys back from injury, like, I don't want to count on things like Bale hitting form and Ali hitting form because it hasn't happened yet. I don't want to just purely speculate, whereas I'm more comfortable thinking the squad improves when Reguilon comes back in because we've seen it. We've seen how much better the squad is having pace, and he's a good defender too. That's the other thing. Like, he's not just a pace merchant, but I mean, hit those balls that he can put into the box are a big deal, right? So I think that's a big deal to have a guy that can go up and down the wing. So I'm much happier to count on something like that. And obviously, you have to be hopeful that we don't have any major injuries, with Tanguy or Højbjerg or guys like that who we just really don't have replacements for. But more, I guess, kind of similar question. What are your expectations? Or if I could ask that in a second way as well. Again, we talked about the errors or the talent, what's easier to fix, just that lack of composure, with the errors or the finishing. Like, if you had, I think Shubin asked us that, what would you focus on if you had to pick one?
I mean, I'm focusing on what we know Jose is good at, which is defense, right? Go out, play the counter-attacking football that was working very well for in the beginning of the season, took it to the top of the league. Fans can bitch, cry, and moan all they want, but if you're winning, you're winning. And I think that's what we have to do is like get back to the low block, let Kane and Sonny do magic for you. Hope that a guy like Stevie or Ndombele, or maybe if Gio comes back, those guys can contribute and maybe kind of open things up, or maybe like create a couple more opportunities. That's it. We have to get back to winning ways. The first 6 matches of the calendar year, we win 5, we lose 1. The next 6, we win 1, we lose 5. Guess what? We've got another stretch of 6 matches coming up, and we could realistically win 5 and lose 1 in that stretch. And I think that has to be the mentality: is make it situational, focus on what you've been able to do. If I had to, as shit as our defense has been, Andrew, we have still had like the second best defense in the league. I think even I know for a fact going into City, we had the second best. I don't know what happened after that match. We obviously gave up 3 goals, but we still have one of the top defenses in the league, even though we're absolutely dog shit. Goals, we are probably mid-table, right? I actually haven't looked at that stat, but if I had to guess, we're probably mid-table somewhere in goals, but we're still top 2, top 3, top 4. So do what you can do best, which is defend. You may not like it. THFC 267 on Twitter is going to be mad at you, but fuck that guy. Focus on what works. Get the confidence up, because like Scotty said, there's some big things coming to play for. Like our Europa matches, right? The first one's on Thursday. We got to go in there and win that. That's not even a question, right? Like, we must win that. Then you have West Ham. When the fuck did West Ham get relevant? They have never been relevant since I've been a fan, right? They're suddenly relevant. And guess what? They're 6 points ahead of us, right? And they're sitting in 4th, and they're going to be cocky as fuck. And they have every right to be. They're playing better football than we are right now. So we have to go win that. Yeah. Then we have Wolfsburger again at home. We have to go win that. So that's it, man. You win. The focus is winning. And how are you going to win? Are you going to win by doing something you've already proven you can do this season? Or are you going to try to win with something you have not proven you can do this season, which is score a fuck ton of goals? So my vote is pretty simple. Focus on the defense. He's a defensive mastermind. He's won leagues. He's won Champions Leagues with that motto. Park that fucking bus and give me the 3 points. I do not give a shit, at least until we get the confidence back, right? Mm-hmm. Then on March 13th, which is my birthday, that'll be the 6th match in the stretch against Arsenal. We unleash hell, right? But for the next 5 games, win them.
Well, and the thing is, that's interesting you bring that up too, because I also knew that we're right up there in terms of goals conceded, which again is super ironic when people are saying Mourinho out, he's not making the players better. Like, even that defense, we're still near the top of goals conceded. Like, I'm not saying there hasn't been untimely goals and errors and all that sort of, but like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say he doesn't improve players and yet we're still at the top of something that we're not good at, right? Like, there is something systematic there. Like, that's the whole point. And again, like, maybe the very last thing I wanted to ask you guys, with the Everton match, I know this is a stretch and a reach, but it almost felt like, well, not you guys, but like everybody out there, you wanted run and gun. Here's run and gun. Well, guess what happened? 5 goals conceded and they were all terrible.
All terrible. Every single one of those goals terrible. Every single. And Scotty, when you say what's our center back pairing, what is our center back pairing? Every pairing has sucked. Every pairing has been busted. I mean, those Everton goals. I mean, the fact that Doherty and Sanchez were on one line, Davies and Dier were on a different line. There's just no communication. Like, look to your left, look to your right. push the line up or drop in so you're level. They literally created space for Bernard to come in and jump in behind and score a goal. Like it's like you have to make a conscious effort to create the space for that attacking player, and that's exactly what we did because there's just no communication back there. So, I mean, I think there is an ideal pairing for us. We have to be fully healthy, but I still believe it's going to be Aurier, Toby, Dier, and Reggie. I only say that because that back four is the one we've gained the most points out of this season. That's the only reason I say that. That is it. I think Dier is absolutely shit, but I'm going to go with what I've seen, and that foursome seems to be the ticket. Now, you can swap. You can make a great argument to swap Dier out for Sanchez, Dier out for Rodon. Fuck Dier out for Tanganga for all I care. But that's our best pairing because statistically speaking, that's the one that's produced the most points. So I think that's what we go with. But now look at that pairing. Half of that pairing is hurt, right? So I think you focus on doing what we can do well, which is to defend, and then let guys like Kane and Sonny go be creative and score those goals in the counter and pray to fucking God that somebody else in the squad wakes up. Whether it's the Welsh Wizard or, whether it's going to be Stevie or Lucas or Deli, or I don't even give a fuck what their name is. Just go score a goal, please, for the love of God. Like, chip in 5 or 6 goals from now until the end of the season. That's really all we're at. Like, we're not asking for somebody to come up and win the fucking Golden Boot in the second half of the season. Score like 6 fucking goals in the league. That's it. Like, can nobody do that?
Dude, 6 goals.
It's frustrating, man. Yeah.
6 goals from somebody besides Kane and Son is probably 8 points right now that we've dropped. Like, no joke.
We're top 4.
Totally, man. I mean,
start the fucking clock today. And from now until the end of the season, any one of our players, like Scotty said, not named Kane or Sonny, score 6 Premier League goals, we are top 4 guaranteed. No fucking question asked.
Yeah. So where's it going to come from? I agree. Defend like hell. Let Son and Kane play football, and then challenge the rest of the fucking team to figure out who's going to score a couple goals.
Yep.
Well, it's something we've talked about earlier in the season, whether we talked about Bale, Lamella, or whoever it was. Like, you need guys firing at different points in the season. Like, it's not realistic to assume that somebody is going to fire for 38 games in a season. And Son, Son's gone a little bit quiet lately, and that's honestly, at risk of triggering Bennett. That's what he does goes. Yeah, he does go hot and cold. And I know he scored against West Brom, but I mean, besides that, there was a minimal impact. And so, again, I'm not blaming him. That team's not playing well, but he is a hot and cold player. He will, again, start scoring goals. I have absolutely no doubt. But, there does need to be somebody else. You go back to the days where it was Desk, it was Deli, Eriksson, Son, Kane, right? Like, you had multiple scoring options, and somebody else has to. And, I don't care who it is. It doesn't make a difference. But somebody needs to be that next guy, and somebody needs to play well from now until the end of the season to take that burden off. Like, we have to have somebody else, not named Kane and Son, who can put the ball in the back of that, or at least be dangerous.
Yeah.
So, Scott, who's it going to be? Who's your prediction? Let's get predictions. Who's going to be that third guy, assuming anybody that's going to, hit a little bit of form and, carry their weight a little bit more than maybe they have?
I mean, I don't know who else to say other than Bergwijn, because I think it has to be him, to be honest. And the thing is like, it sounds silly saying that out loud, because I don't even think he's been bad. I think he's played an important role, actually, a lot of games that he started, which has been to support the defense. But I do think he's that guy that can find a couple goals for us, him or Bale. But I go with Bergwijn.
Yeah, Mort, do you have any feel for a third goal scorer at all?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna say something stupid. I've been allowing myself to say dumb stuff just to see how it feels. But I'm gonna go with Gareth Bale, and I'll tell you why.
Right.
You know exactly why, Andrew. It's that little shot he had against City, where he literally beat 3 guys with 2 touches of the ball. He was about 19 yards out. Right, left, right, shot with his left, and all that happened in less than a second and a half. And City was defending well. It's not like they turned off. Those were set defenders. 3 touches and a shot, and he did all of that within the 2-yard radius. He created his space. He got the shot off. I'm gonna say Bale just because he still has it. Like, he still has it. He still has it, and I saw it. That magic was there. My fucking heart sank when I saw him go tick, tick, tick. I'm like, oh my fuck, he's gonna score a goal.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Bale. I know it's a stupid stupid choice, but I'm going to go with Bale because if he can.
I feel you. I feel you for that, because I'm feeling and again, you have to look like who's most likely to do it, right? Like, it's nice to see Lamela pop up with that goal against Everton, but like we should have no faith that he's going to remain healthy for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And it's just probably not going to happen based on 7 years now of having him on the squad. So again, like I don't know what to think about Bergwijn. Again, like I think I agree with Scott. I think he has played an important role. I'm a little bit disappointed that he hasn't really evolved maybe into a bit more of a goal threat, especially with the start that he had. So I'm not saying sell him or give up on him, but like I don't necessarily see it happening this season. So no, I think Bale is our best bet as well. I don't see it being Ali. I think again, Bale showing a little bit of light. He probably starts this weekend, I would assume. Or sorry, this Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. Oh hell yeah! And
I think
as he should.
Yeah.
As he
again,
should,
I'd be fine, to see Kane start as well. I actually didn't really want him to start against City, and that maybe should have been the case because he didn't look all that sharp as he's coming back from 2 sprained ankles. But all right, guys, we didn't preview Wolfsburger all that much. We don't know anything about Wolfsburger. They play in Austria. They're at 6th place or something like that. I'm sure they'll be a decent squad. Just very last question to you both. What are you thinking in terms of a win-loss? What are you thinking here? I'll start with.
Oh yeah, we're gonna beat Wolfsburger 3-0, and I think Gary's gonna get a goal. I think Vinny gets a goal. And then I think we go and we do the business against West Ham. I think these players step up. I think they realize the magnitude of that match. Believe it or not, West Ham is a bit of a rivalry right now. I can't even believe I'm saying that out loud. Remember, this is the same team. We're up 3-0. They came back, so we owe them one, right? So, and I think the team handles it. So I think next time we talk in the pod, we're coming after 2 wins. Also, a quick plug. If you notice on our Twitter feed and our website, I've been writing up little paragraphs before every match, so if anybody gets bored. I don't even know why I'm saying this now because nobody's fucking still listening to this podcast. So we could have said this in the beginning, but there you go. Like, go read my articles. I'm trying to keep the swearing down, but no promises.
No promises at all. Scott, I know you're on the run here, so am I. But just give us a quick prediction for both Wolfsburger and West Ham, like Mort did.
This isn't a joke. Normally it would be, but 5-0 Spurs. I think we're gonna come out and just throttle them, and I think we should. To be honest, it's time. So a good 5-0 win. I don't think we're going to come out playing high press attacking football, but I think we win 5-0. And then West Ham, I don't know what the score is quite yet. I'm not sure if I have a feeling there, but I do think that we get a result there as well. And I think it's, again, because we have to. And I think Jose will get it done. So
right on. Okay, well, I'm going to say 4-1 against Wolfsburger. I still don't see the clean sheet happening, but I do see a few goals flying in. And I'm kind of feeling a 2-2 versus West Ham, which I don't really want to say. So I'm going to say 3-2. 3-2 seems to be a popular score against West Ham a lot of the time. So, for Mort, for Scott, for everybody at Chicken Ball, except for Ryan, who didn't tell us he wasn't coming. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs!
Come on, Spurs.